Hello, Nancy and Victoria.
Hello, Michelle. How are you today?
I'm doing well. Thank you very much.
Good.
I'm, as you know, sometimes I've had trouble logging in on the Zooms and things like that. And I finally am switching from my ancient laptop to my, well, it's still kind of an old laptop, but it's okay. It's going to be newer than the one I've got. And because Microsoft has decided that I can't have that laptop really anymore. They're just like I asked for help on Outlook or Word and it goes, no, you have Outlook 10 and Microsoft Word 10, and we're not going to let you ask questions anymore. I'm like, okay, all right. Anyway, so I need to upgrade and switch everything over to, what is it, Microsoft 365 or whatever.
Yeah, they're going to Office 365 or something like that.
Well, this old laptop was probably running out of memory and stuff like that anyway, so it's okay. So hopefully some of my challenges will go away because of that.
Good
Anyway.
evening, Judy.
Hello there.
Oh, even fancier, Judy Brown Realty in the background. That's pretty.
I just switched to my angle. One.
Very smart of you. Very smart of you.
Yes, yes.
Hello, everybody.
Hello, Mr. Kudla.
Hello.
You know, welcome to the what I would call the middle of February. I can't believe that it is February 8th, 2022. I look at the calendar and I look at myself in the mirror and I say, oh boy, time is going by fast.
It always seems to do that in my world. So, yeah. Well, we just had a nice meeting with Aaron, so he'll be
Oh,
joining us.
good. Good.
Yeah.
Hey, Carl.
Hi, Carl.
Hello. Had to turn my mic on or speakers on there.
Well, Carl, I hope you don't mind. I just had a meeting with a new alternate for Planning Commission tonight. I'm sure he'll join us in a few minutes. And he was asking about the current commission, and I said, well, I moved to the Englewood area in 1960 when I was 5 and 6 years old. I remember when the KLZ towers were at Hampton and Gilpin, and they wanted to put Cinderella City there, and everybody in Cherry Hill said, oh, heck no. And so Cinderella City ended up down where City Center is now. And I said, I remember the library being basically, what is it, Bannock there, right behind the King Soopers. It was right next to the reading room for the Christian Scientists and everything like that. And I said, so Carl and I are the old fogies on the commission. So I hope you don't mind me calling you that.
I've been called worse.
Well, Aaron, welcome. Nice to see you. All right, we're just waiting for a couple more people.
I'm assuming that that's a picture that's in the background because it's not light outside anymore, Nancy.
You don't think that's my beautiful living room?
Well, I think it's your beautiful living room. I just don't think that it's light outside unless you live in a different place than I do.
No, it's just a stock photo. I wish it were my living room and that I could decorate that beautifully.
Oh, well, you could do it. I mean, you got the picture of it.
Yeah. It's only money, Michelle. It's only money.
It is only money. That's right. Yeah.
Well, I see on my screen two people that I haven't seen since the fall time, Linda and Irwin. I just want to say hello. I remember seeing you a couple times out on site. We had some great conversations out at the neighborhood. So this is the first time that I've seen you in some of the recent meetings, and I just wanted to say best wishes for 2022 to you folks. You're
Okay, we had to unmute. Yeah, we're in southern Nevada right now for the winter, so that's been partly why we haven't been active. One issue I sent forward to meeting minutes, information about this meeting, and I found out when I tried to log on that the link that was provided in the email from the Planning Commission is missing a colon after HTTPS. Should be colon / / and the colon is missing. So I had to figure that out. I hope some of the other people that I tried to notify will figure it out too. So I had to, instead of clicking on the link, I had to copy the link and then go put it in my URL locator and then put the colon in there, and then it worked fine. So somebody messed up a little bit.
We're humans.
Oh, come on. I made a mistake once.
We're not quite at the robot stage yet.
Erwin, I'm still learning how to turn on my computer, let alone make connections. So,
Well, Erwin's the last name. My name's Ivan. Not a big one.
I apologize.
No problem. No problem at all.
Okay,
We
Chair.
appreciate some of the things you guys have done about traffic calming and so forth. And we want to bring that up during the meeting, that needs to be pursued to the maximum extent.
Okay, sir, I'm going to need to mute you and your lovely wife until it's
Go for it.
time for public forum. And then, Chair, we are ready to get started. I need to find the Irwin's link, though.
Okay.
Oh.
All right. Well, my name's Michelle Austin. I am currently chair of the Planning and Zoning Commission, but that probably will change tonight. And I'm calling this meeting on Tuesday, February 8th, 2022 to order. Nancy, would you call the roll, please? Uh-oh,
You're muted, Nancy.
you're muted, Nancy.
Sorry, Ms.
That's okay.
Townley. Gosh. Here. Ms. Donaldson is absent. Mr. Haggerty is absent. Ms. Brown?
Here.
Kate Fuller is absent. Mr. Atkins?
Present.
Mr. Adams?
Present.
Ms. Hubka?
Here.
Mr. Martinez?
Here.
And Chair Austin.
Here. Before we go further, I would like to introduce everybody to Erin Martinez, who is applied to be a commissioner for planning and zoning. And I believe since we have vacancies, Nancy, if I'm not mistaken, he is a full-fledged voting member of the planning and zoning tonight. Was that correct?
For this evening, yes, he is.
Okay, great. So everybody welcome Erin. We spent a little bit of time before the meeting, and so hopefully we gave him enough information, but I also told him ask questions because we're a friendly group. The next order of business is approval of the draft January 19th, 2022 minutes. Do I hear a motion to approve the minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll take a second.
Terrific. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. Nancy, would you call the roll for approval of the minutes from January 19th?
Ms. Townley?
Yes.
Ms. Brown?
Abstain.
I'm sorry?
I'm abstaining.
Oh, abstain. I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. Mr. Atkins?
Yes.
Mr. Adams?
Yes.
Ms. Hubka?
Yes.
Mr. Martinez?
Same.
And Chair Austin.
Approved.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Terrific. Okay. do we have any findings of fact to approve tonight?
We do.
Okay, oh, there you go. I have to go over to my other computer here. Okay, great. Okay, oh, come on, computer. Okay. All right, so we need to, I need a motion to approve the findings of fact in the matter of case ZON 2021-004. Is that correct? Is that what we need, Nancy?
Yes.
Okay, I have a motion. Do I hear a motion?
I'll move to approve.
Thank you. Second,
I'll second.
thank you. Is there any discussion? Seeing none. Nancy, would you call for the vote, please?
Ms. Townley,
Yes.
Ms. Brown,
Abstain.
Mr. Atkins,
Yes.
Mr. Adams,
Yes,
Ms. Hubka,
Yes.
Mr. Martinez,
Same.
and Chair Austin.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay. The next item on our agenda is a public forum, and it's the top opportunity for the public to address the Planning and Zoning Commission regarding items that are not on the agenda. You commissioners can ask questions, but there will not be any dialogue, and you will be limited to 3 minutes. Nancy, do we have any of the members of the public for the public forum?
So for the Irwins, did you have something you wanted to address the commission with that is not regarding the public hearing? Or were you going to speak during the public hearing?
Hmm.
Okay, sorry about getting unmuted. No, our concerns are with the agenda, the agenda item, the main agenda item.
Okay, thank you. We'll come back. I do
Alright.
not see anyone else.
Okay. Makes life a little easier. Okay, so now I need a motion to open the public hearing on case ZON 2021-003 for 3600 South Galapago Street. Do I hear a motion?
I'll make a motion to open the public hearing.
Thank you. Second,
I'll second.
thank you. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, Nancy, will you call for the vote on opening the public hearing?
Ms. Townley,
Yes.
Ms. Brown,
Yes.
Mr. Atkins,
Yes.
Mr. Adams,
yes,
Ms. Hubka, Ms. Hubka,
Brenda, I think you're muted.
Is muted, sorry, yes.
no problem. Mr. Martinez, and Chair Austin.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay. Who on staff do I need to call on for to open the presentation?
That'd be me.
Mr. Charles,
Okay, thank you. Take it
All
away.
righty.
actually, if I could have all of staff come on quickly,
You
and
have to
I'll
swear
swear
in.
you all in at the same time. That would be great. Please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury that you'll tell the truth in this proceeding before the Planning and Zoning Commission?
I do.
I do.
Thank you. If you speak, please state your name before you speak. Thank you.
All righty. Yep. So Will Charles. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. So if once I do, if someone can give me a thumbs up if they can see it, just so make sure everyone's on the same page. Cool.
Yeah.
Perfect. All righty. So we've been through a couple of these so far for various projects in the area. This one is for 3600 South Galapago Street for ZON 2021-003. So the subject property is located between Ithaca and Jefferson along Galapagos Street. The current zone district is I-1 light industrial, approximately 1.14 acres, with currently a single-story commercial strip center structure on the property. The strip center structure kind of borders the alley with a parking lot taking up the most of the remainder of the property, just to the west of it, between it and Galapagos Street. As far as the property, it is 62 residential units comprised of 2 different building types, one being a 50-unit multifamily structure, and then 11 carriage units over garages. So the proposed uses in the PUD is just for residential, similar to the other projects we've seen. This one has a slightly higher height limitation than a couple of the previous projects, mostly due to some sloped roofs. The height limitation that they have as a maximum is 65, but the project, I believe, caps out at about 59 feet. So it's a little bit under this max height that they have listed. Property has increased landscaping over what would be required in that I-1 base district. We'll kind of get into that a little bit later. And then additionally, they are proposing 89 off-street parking spaces. So this is just a rough site plan of the property. So north is to the left of the picture, south to the bottom, or to the right of the picture. You can see the pocket park that they are proposing, which would be available to all members of the public, however, be maintained by the private property owners of the HOA of the development. These are also just some rough pictures of the site as well. I believe the applicant will have some more colored ones during their presentation. So I'll go quickly through these and then kind of get into the nuts and bolts. So as far as code modifications, so for planning developments, we like to kind of show any sort of code modifications. So under the Unified Development Code, this kind of middle column, the I-1, would be what the base district is. We've had some questions in the previous meetings about kind of, if this project was in a district where it was a permitted use by right, what would those be? So I went ahead and put these M1 code modifications kind of on the right side, just as a reference as well. So as far as what the project is proposing, they have proposed a minimum landscape area of about 12.5%. They're a little bit over that. I believe they're at about just a hair shy of 6,700 square feet on the property, which puts them at about 14% is what they're proposing. Under the I-1, as we mentioned before, it's be that 8% minimum. And then for the M1, for a similar development where it's purely residential, it'd be 20%. For commercial and mixed use developments in that M1, it would be a 10% landscaping. Additionally, on top of that, the number of trees and shrubs that they would be requiring, or they're proposing on site, would actually exceed even the that M1 requirement by a large portion. So they're a little under that M1 as far as the amount of landscaping, as far as square footages, but as far as vertical elements, they're far exceeding it. As far as building height goes, as I mentioned, they have that max height 65 feet. As we talked about previously, the I-1 does not have a max height, so they'd be capping themselves where previously there would not be a max height. And then to compare it again to that M1, they have heights ranging from about 60 to 145, depending on where in that medical district you are. As far as setbacks, these kind of vary across the board from 0 to 5, which is pretty consistent across the board for these other districts. And then finally, as far as uses, which is the main reason that this is being applied for under a PUD, would be changing those I-1 light industrial uses out for a purely residential use on the property. As far as project enhancements, there'd be traffic calming through improved ADA ramps, sidewalks, things of that nature, as well as detached sidewalks would provide more safety for walkability. The creation of a new neighborhood amenity through the pocket park on the property, as well as increasing attainable home ownership for the city of Englewood. So staff found that the plan is consistent with the ordinances of goals and objectives and multiple different plans of the city. And then finally, staff is recommending approval of the ZON 2021-003 with the following criteria. First one being a payment of a park fee in lieu. The second being the construction of those multimodal improvements through the curb ramps. The third being conceptual review by Public Works of the additional multimodal improvements, as we've kind of mentioned in previous ones, that would be done prior to certificate of occupancy. And then finally, a minor subdivision if there's any sort of easements or dedications prior to certificate of occupancy. And that is it for my presentation. I'd be happy to answer any questions you have, though.
I don't see any hands.
And I'm going to go ahead and stop. Oh,
But Judy's got her physical hand risen. Go ahead, Judy.
Couldn't find my little reaction button fast enough. Help me understand sort of what that minor subdivision with the Arapahoe County, is it just a filing or do you have to go through some approval process?
yeah, and I'm going to stop sharing my screen just so we can see everyone's faces. So let me know if future questions, if you want me to bring it back up. Yeah, as far as the minor subdivision process, essentially the benefit of it is that any sort of say if these sidewalks don't necessarily fit in that right of way and there needs to be a 2-foot easement to, go onto that property to have that little public-private, action between that to get that sidewalk in there, that's where it becomes beneficial. Not necessarily on this property, but the other benefits of those subdivisions is that's the way you would combine or subdivide land. So that won't necessarily be as important on this one, but it's something we want to make sure is kind of just listed as a condition, just in case we need them to do one before issuing any sort of building permits.
But so is it just a filing or do you have to go and get approval?
They would submit it for the city for approval. We would review it and make sure everything is correct.
So what has to go to the county? I'm just trying to understand the process.
Yeah. So a surveyor would draft up the minor subdivision. They would submit it to us. Once we're comfortable with approving it, they would submit what's called Mylars, which are just kind of a plastic version of it. We would get those signed by 3 different directors of the city of Englewood, and then we would take that down to the county to get filed.
Okay, so you don't have to get approval from the county.
Oh, I understand now. I understand the question.
Okay.
Yes. It's
Okay.
purely city reviewed process.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
Kate?
Okay, I was just curious, the reasoning to compare to M1 versus MUR3C. And then also, if you can just speak again to the landscaping requirement and if you have a sense of how much over that 20%, if you were to compare it to M1, they would be at.
Yeah. So the reasoning that I kind of chose to put that M1 in there rather than the MUs, one is that the height limitation in those MUs, I believe, caps out at like 40, 45 feet in a lot of them. So it kind of didn't really fit as much into that one as maybe the M1, where there's a little more opportunity for higher, higher height limitations for it. And so, and that's also kind of the M1 is where, a lot of kind of similar style of larger multifamily dwellings have been constructed. They're kind of in that same area. So that's why I put that one. Yeah, I mean, the only real difference on that landscaping of the two is I believe it's 25 versus 20 between the two. But that's kind of the main difference. As far as the landscaping, like the vertical landscaping or the shrubs and trees and things like that. So as far as if this project was, required to have 20% on-site landscaping, their tree requirement would be 16 trees, and their shrub requirement, that's a hard sentence. Shrub requirement would be 200 shrubs. Currently what they're proposing is 32 trees, so about double the amount of trees required, and then 294 shrubs comparative to 200.
So that there's not additional space, but additional plants within the space that they have,
Correct.
right? Okay.
I am not seeing any other hands at this time, Chair.
I'm seeing a
Oh,
physical
wait,
hand from
Brenda.
Brenda.
I think Brenda's hand is up.
I know, I'm sorry, folks. I have a hard time seeing the physical hands with everybody
That's
else.
okay. And I think Noel has his hand
And
up.
Noel, I see Noel's hand.
Okay.
Brenda?
Together we conquer. There. Brenda,
I
Brenda,
can't hear her.
we can't hear you very well. Is there a way that you can get closer to the microphone or something like that? It's all mumbly.
How was that? Is that better? Can you hear me now?
That's
Much
better.
Okay, yeah, sorry about that. I had my phone behind me. Yes, I have a question regarding public works and some of the drainage that we have surrounding this property. On the north side of this property, there's a couple of places that have a real problem with water drainage during the heavy rains and of course snow. There's a sewer that sits right next, or a sewer drain that sits right next to the code enforcement building, but nothing goes to it. So I was just wondering if the city has, if in the discussion of this, if any public works improvement projects might be in the works to kind of improve that corner before we build all this stuff. Do you happen to know if that came up or if you know what I'm talking about? That's questions for you, Charles.
Yeah, Tyler or Tim, do you guys want to tackle that question?
This is Tyler Trojan. I'm an engineer here with Public Works. I am not completely sure if there's any public works improvement projects as you're suggesting in that area. When I finish, maybe Tim Hoos can step in and give me some help here. What I will say though is with this design team is that they will be required to address everything on their property. So all of the water on their property will be collected. It will be detained and treated and then released at the historical rate. So it will not be increasing the rate of runoff and contributing to any flooding in that area. But again, as far as any other ongoing projects addressing that specific inlet, it sounds like I am not sure. If Tim Hoos, maybe if you can help me out.
Yeah, I'm Tim Hoos. I'm Deputy Director of Public Works for Engineering and Asset Management. So as Tyler said, the runoff will not increase the problem. Any type of increase they would cause, we would have them mitigate that. But as long as they don't add to the problem that's already there, we Won't be any requirement on the developer, and at this time, the city doesn't have any specific project there either. There's a few locations like that around the city that we're looking at, isolated problems like that to see what we can do to address them, some of the spot locations. But at this time, there's no firm plans for anything at that location.
Thank you.
Noel?
Would you please remind me the definition of attainable home ownership?
You know, for as far as the definition that I was using in my own sentence where I use that word, I would say it's that home ownership right around that, you know, certainly around the 100 to 150% AMI, somewhere in that kind of range. You know, as far as kind of metrics, as far as what they're proposing, as far as cost for these units, I believe the applicant kind of will have those in their presentation. But yeah, certainly I wasn't meaning anything, you know, with vouchers or anything like that. But you know, something more on the, I guess, affordable in that sense.
Kate?
I was just wondering, sorry if I missed this, if you could talk a little bit more from staff's perspective on the multimodal improvements. It says to make them so they meet public works need, and then I think in some of the recommendations it says that there'll be bicycle markings. And I just wanted to make sure that that is an actual bicycle lane and not like a sharrow.
Gotcha. Jay or Tim, do you guys want to take that question, or Tyler?
I can take that one again. So this location is not on the bicycle master plan, so there won't be any bike lane along Galapago. That's not one of our main routes for bicycles. So the main improvements will be the ADA ramps on the corners, as well as the crosswalks to upgrade those to directional and make sure it's easier to walk through there. But there are no bike lane master plans in this area to install any bike lanes along there.
Is it possible if Public Works is saving money by having the developer put in these ADA ramps at this site instead of having to do it by the city, that then there could be bicycle markings or lanes added somewhere else by the city?
Yeah, that's something we haven't really thought about. That it is, I guess we kind of follow the walk and wheel plan there for all the bike lanes and stuff. We're just updating that now, and that's going to be kind of our master plan for where we install bike lanes throughout the city. But since this really wouldn't be a cost to the city anyway, I guess that would be hard to transfer that money over. But we certainly are looking at the walk and wheel plan. We'll have some recommendations on where we'll start putting bike lanes in. But I know Galapago is not one of the main routes there for bike lanes on the walk and wheel plan at this time. So this site does not connect into that network exactly. I think it's I think Fox is the main north-south route through here, so it's only a block over there to jump onto a bike lane from this site. So it's not too far away, but we try to follow that master plan so all the network connects for all the bike lanes around the city.
Sorry, and you said the walk and wheel plan has the bike lane just one block over?
I believe it is Fox. I think I'd have to look at the map again, but I believe it's Fox is kind of the main north-south corridor through this area. That would be the closest bike lane to the site.
I don't see anyone else, Chair.
And last call for asking questions of Will. Okay. Seeing none, I think it's time for the applicant to speak. And who should I call upon for that?
If they would all actually come on camera and off mute, I need to swear them all in, and then that way they all can speak when they need
Perfect.
to.
Perfect.
Kevin Kennedy, raise your hand.
Do you swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury that you will tell the truth in this proceeding before the Planning and Zoning Commission?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Please state your name when you speak.
Whoever needs to go first, go ahead.
Hi, Peter Ketloff, for the sake of some of the new individuals that we have this evening. In particular, Aaron, welcome to the Planning Commission, along with any new neighbors who have not participated with us in 2 previous meetings. Our cover page.
We're gonna share our screen.
Okay, so we're going to share the screen and we're going to walk our way through this. And Galapago is a condominium addition to the neighborhood. And we used a comment here where we are people in the middle. And the people and faces that we've depicted here are representations of who we believe the product is targeted to. And I know that there was an attainable question. What does in the middle mean? What does affordability mean? And before we go any further, I just want to say that this particular neighborhood edition is about trying to serve the middle of the market. 15 of these 61 homes are under 400, targeted to be under 400,000. 34 of them are targeted to be between 425 and 445. And 13 of them are between 485 and 510. Tonight, we're really here to talk about the technical requirements that we work diligently with the city to meet and or exceed. Our team members, I'll get to it when the slide goes there, but I just want to really emphasize the fact of supply and demand of product. In this particular situation, for those that are new, it's a locally owned company by myself. I've been in business since '84. We've been in 13 different municipalities, and as previous Planning Commission members know, that we've built 3 buildings currently in the Englewood environment. Members of the team represented, who are we? We're very community driven, we're philanthropists, and we're neighborhood developers. What are the goals and objectives for Galapago, along with the other 3 community or other 2 communities that we have brought to the city? We want to deliver attainable, which simply means it's not a formal obligation with any government obligations or assistance, but we want to provide attainable housing offered to all ages and demographics. We want to deliver residents between 275 and 475,000. We want to increase the tax base. We have been very, very focused on encouraging walkability, retail redevelopment. We have a very special park that we are going to be introducing as First Responder Park as part of our neighborhood edition. We want to continue to contribute to any formal housing, attainable housing program that Englewood would originate. And we want to help brand what we call the industrial district. It looks like we eliminated the team members who were going to be here. Everyone recognizes that we are in a catalytic zone, and without formal technicality, I think Planning Commission members currently in the past recognize catalytic, changing, activity changing. In the previous 2 meetings, again, we've tried to be diligent about identifying the individual, what we call bubbles of living. We have the hospital district. We have the downtown Broadway area. We have the city center light rail, which is in that pretty purple. And then we have what we might call the downtown Englewood Station Industrial District, all color coded. For those who, first time that they've seen this, we have walkability dimensions by way of the 3 sites that we're developing. We recognize that we are blessed to be close to the light rail station, 15 minutes from the Oxford, and we're currently an 8-10 minute walk from the city center and the light rail there. And so a big purpose of us redeveloping this area and contributing to neighborhood is walkability. The site, as Will mentioned, is a north to south site located with the boundary of Galapagos on the west, Jefferson on the south, and Ithaca to the north. It is unfortunately surrounded by a massive parking lot to the west and to the north. Danny, you want to talk a little bit about our demographic review, and this is Danny's first opportunity to join us as a presenter, so go get him, Danny.
Hi, everyone, I'm Danny. Speaking on demographics, the Englewood population has plus or minus 35,000, 65 plus age population, plus or minus 5,000. Our data shows that there's a limited housing supply in the price band of 275,000 to 475,000. And therefore, it is very clear to us that we need new attainable housing supply for all ages and demographics. Going into our current Englewood active housing supply, a quick current overview, like I stated before, Englewood has a population of plus or minus 35,000, household 12,529 with an average household size of 2, median age of 36, a median household income of 59,774, which represents 75% of the population. The data shows that the median home value is 530,000, and there were 220 homes that closed in Englewood in 2021 in the price range of 120,000 to 500,000. As you can see in this chart, we have an active for sale Englewood inventory as of February 3rd. We have 16 active homes, and we broke them down into 50,000 increments, ranging from 300,000 to 650,000 plus. This community, Galapagos, will bring an estimated sales price band of 275,000 to 475,000. The estimated average home price will be approximately 400,000 with an average home size of 1,015 square feet. This community will bring 61 attainable condominiums. To wrap this together, at a 59,774 income bracket, a household with 1 or 2 people can afford a home between 350,000 to 450,000. A 350,000 to 450,000 mortgage equals to 1,400 to 1,900 principal and interest monthly payments. The average monthly rental price in Englewood is $500 to $3,500 per month, because a room would equal at a rental price of $500 per month, all the way up to a single family or townhome for $3,500. 500.
No 35,000 a month deals.
To summarize our community, it'll be a 4-story building, 61 condominium homes with 2 elevators, 62 private garages, of which 15 will be 2-car garages, 89 total parking spaces. The building composition includes carriage homes, 2-bedroom homes. The community will also include a neighborhood park known as First Responder Park, and the on-site stormwater quality and detention to city code has also been addressed.
Way to go, Danny.
Woo!
Yeah, yeah.
Existing site conditions, here we are looking at the current property looking north to south. As you can see, there's no stormwater quality or detention existing on site. Here we're looking north to east. Again, no stormwater quality or detention existing on site. Right now we're on the West Ithaca and South Galapagos intersection looking east. West Ithaca and South Galapagos intersection looking west. Mid block looking north. Mid block looking south. West Jefferson and South Galapagos intersection looking east. West Jefferson and South Galapagos intersection looking west.
And Danny, I want to tell you that your statistics and your presentation of the existing visuals is right on. One of the things that I also want to note that we went through the pictures rather quickly, but it's interesting to look at parking on the street, parking on the lots. And one would say, okay, Cudluck, when did you take these photographs and where are the cars? But that is a true depiction of parking at various parts during the day. Going to the really pretty photograph that said noontime. No, noontime. Alma just came back from a vacation, so she's a little, challenged with the computer. But anyway, bottom line is, if you look at the photograph on the left, this photograph was photographed by a drone, and you can see the depiction of traffic, and it's a still photograph, but it gives you just a snapshot. Ironically, the same photograph was taken at 10 p.m. at night, and we can't sit here and count the number of cars on the street, but we can see that the parking lots are pretty empty. There's no activation in the neighborhood. As noted by Will, the building sits along Galapago. To the east of it is a auto repair Range Rover. Those are all Range Rover cars that he's been storing on the backside of our building. That is being changed, and that alley will be improved. The elevation of the building, we will have a summary slide to show you the distinct uniqueness of each of the buildings that we presented. This was not meant to be a cookie cut, one building fits all. This one was a 4-story with the peak roofs, which have a higher pitch than the other buildings. Windows are different, siding is different, and landscaping is different. This is the carriage row around the east side of the property. We wanted to give a depiction of what that 2-story living environment looks like. We're going to get into the parking comparison, and I know Danny did some work for us and represented that the request that we're putting in front of the board right now is a parking ratio of 1.46, whereas within the quarter mile, the so-called guidelines for the city center are much lower. I know that there was some discussion, I think Kate brought it up, about the multi-modal improvements. One of the items on this particular slide, working with the city, engineering, public works, we have a clear depiction on this picture of the ADA ramp systems and compliances on corners. You will notice that it's on the north corner of our property, along with the southwest corner, along with the improvements that we have been obligated to and proud to improve between the Huron site and the connectivity along Jason. I would propose and support bike lane expansion, and we would be more than happy to contribute to the lane establishment north and south with city approval coming from Oxford. I know that there's a master plan, but I just want to volunteer and say that connectivity, bicycle, walking is a priority for all of us. This is a close-up view of our particular Galapago improvements. I know that City Council was very interested in that last night in its first reading of the Elks. And I know that the city and its engineering staff has represented that the improvements that have been evaluated for traffic and for control of crosswalks have been fully evaluated, and we are fulfilling and responding to those requirements. Again, close-up views of the multimodal. This is just one of the slides that we've used over and over again. I'm pretty passionate about the green space, and every one of these three properties is different. This particular property will have a park known as First Responder Park. It's in the southeast portion of the community. I think there was some summaries by Will about our concentration of design. I know that we have Diane from Bloom on one of the Lifeline calls. She's the design architect, landscape design. And the reason for the notation of first responder is that you will notice that we have three areas of public art. And you will also see that we have a cornerstone on the southeast or on the southwest corner. I had the tremendous privilege to transport some of the 9/11 steel from the World Trade Center back to Denver, Colorado. And locally, it has been presented in a number of municipal fire departments, police stations, in memory of 9/11. I have asked my team to research first responders who have lost their lives in the act of Englewood in our community, because I would like to dedicate an ongoing plaque recognizing those people. And I'm also going to do my very best to get a actual piece from the 9/11 as a memorial piece to become a signature participant in the neighborhood that we're creating. The site plan, is always one of those that we're looking from top to bottom. The footprint of the building is represented clearly. The parking has always been a topic of discussion with all three of our presentations. So this is a representation of a detached sidewalk, a sidewalk combination, landscape combination that I think best represents our commitment to landscaping. And we believe that, we're also just another unique dimension within the neighborhood. Okay, here we are. We're all in the same boat. Our goal is to try and lead the way in Englewood for what we call affordable housing. I think that the pricing that we're experiencing is putting a lot of individuals at a distance that they cannot replace some of the very, very old and functionally obsolescent places. So if anybody wants a specific article, we can provide you so many of those. And we see that pop up in the Englewood Herald quite often about affordable supply and demand in the neighborhood. And I think Danny's comment about what sold in 2021 to what is available in 2022, and it's going to be 2023 before we even know it. So we're proud to provide a summary of property that will be distinctively different between all three. Attainable housing, the property taxes will be increased substantially from 14 to 130,000 a year. The new park is going to have a great signature on it. We'll contribute to that attainable program if that gets expanded. We will be paying the city in excess of 635,000-ish permits and fees. We hope to continue to brand the industrial district, and we sure hope to add more bodies and responsible neighbors to the neighborhood for a variety of reasons, to activate it, to generate sales, but to create a real neighborhood. So here's the faces. For those, Aaron, you're one of the new ones, new commissioners. We made 3 presentations. One is on the Elks Club, what we call E2122. The demographics there will be different than the demographics on Huron Street, which is 24 townhomes. And then 3600 Galapago is again another middle section. And in our final slide, which I think tells the story of what Metropolitan is committed to in Englewood, is 3 forms of living. In the first building, the condominiums at Elks, again, is a 2 elevator building, 11 studios, 55 2-bedroom, 2 baths, parking ratio approved at 1.45. The size band, and this is where, when we look at it across the board, you're going to say, you know, there was a reason why he created what he did. The size band at Elks is 570 to 828, average 770. Price band 275 to 400, and we see the tax increment. Moving quickly to the middle, a comparison, 66 condos compared to 24 townhomes. The parking ratio goes from 145 to 2. The size band goes from an average of 770 up to 1705. The price band also changes, goes from 275 to 400 to 600 to 650, average 625. And the taxes are representative as the stat. Site number 3, Galapago, and if you look at this comparison, it's 61 condominiums, and we'll go right away to the size band. The size band goes 570 to 1,209 square feet, an average of 1,000. So in one particular addition to the neighborhood, we're at product at 770 square feet with a price band up to 400. The second size band goes 570 to 1,200 square feet, and that price band increases incrementally up to 475. Site 2, Huron, is the smallest number of townhomes, but in the highest range of square footage and pricing accordingly. And again, from a property tax analysis, the current generate is 14, and we're at forecasting 129. So in conclusion, because that is the last slide, I'm going to ask my teammates, specifically any engineers, any traffic people, any architects, to help answer some questions that council may have. I know there was a question about drainage and sewer systems. On behalf of the applicant, I think we have worked very closely with the engineering department to get underground proper drainage and sewer. So the public improvements, I think, is a technical item that has been reviewed and approved. Attainable, I think Noah was asking that. I think I tried to answer that briefly. And the commitment to connectivity is something that we are very proud of. The open space, parking. So boom, third and final presentation to the Planning Commission. Questions?
Thank you very much for the presentation. And yes, you have been terrific through 1, 2, and now 3 of your presentations. Nancy,
Thanks, Michelle.
no problem. Is it better for us to take comments from the public now or after the commissioner's comments?
We usually do commission questions to the applicant, then
Okay.
it'll be open for public forum, and then the applicant and staff can also respond if they wish to any of the public comments.
Perfect. Thank you for the clarification.
Sure.
Okay, so any commissioners who wish to make a comment or ask questions, please raise your hand. I'll ask Nancy to call on you because I can't always see everybody totally. So.
Mr. Adams?
I had a question on the trash and recycle. Is there recycle? And there's one room that collects the trash. How does a trash truck get in there or whatever the means for picking that up? And then is there anything on recycling?
The answer the answer to Carl's question, twofold. Number one, the access to the site for all types of vehicles of any size, in particular this question, trash, runs north and south, as you can see on the site plan. The area will have recycled capacity, and the trash is a controlled area, both not only from a individual room area that it drops into by way of the main building, but each of the individual carriage units will have its own trash containers for both regular and for recycle. And I'm also very happy to participate in last night's meeting. You had two great citizens who talked about composting. And I'm just going on the record that we will participate in any form or fashion in the composting situation. Once again, we're living in 2021 going forward.
Any other questions before we move to public forum?
I'm trying to find how to raise my hand, but I do have a couple questions.
Okay.
I didn't see in the packet, maybe there was, but it was a sort of lengthy packet. A summary of your neighborhood community meetings. Can you fill me in on what the public meetings were like and what the concerns were?
Michelle, what I'm going to do is ask for some help from Will for the specific dates of the meetings that we held. And I think that in reflection, so that's a technical, when those dates were and such. I'm going to respond to some of the concerns. I think that we have always heard about parking and on-street parking as a concern. Number two, one of the neighborhood items was traffic control and connectivity. I think that that was probably the two most notable items that I heard from the neighborhood groups. And for them to look at the traffic going north and south on Jason was probably the biggest concern that I heard in all three presentations in the neighborhood. Will, can you help me with the technical answer?
Yeah. So I'm just going to kind of run through these dates. So April 28th of 2021 was the first official neighborhood meeting for the project.
Right.
September 8th of 2021 was another neighborhood meeting. And then September 30th, they had a meeting with the Chamber of Commerce. October 14th, there was a meeting to discuss all three of the projects. And then November 9th was their second official neighborhood meeting.
Yeah, no, I see that on page 14 of our packet. What I was asking is, what was the general content? I don't think we had any minutes of those meetings. That's what I was asking about.
Oh, I understand. Yeah, I mean, I think, I think Peter pretty much covered that with his answer. Certainly in these meetings, I think traffic and trip generations are always kind of the main two concerns that we hear about. From looking at the plans and looking at the parking needs studies and the traffic impact studies that the applicant has provided, I think on a technical side, I think they've answered it, but also with the additional meetings that they had to kind of discuss those with the community, I think they went through some additional steps to kind of address those concerns.
Okay, and Peter, if I could ask, how was the attendance for any or all of those meetings?
Michelle, great question. The initial meeting in can you believe April of 2021? I can't even think back.
Almost a year ago. Yeah.
I have to say that if I had to reflect, there may have been about 30 individuals at that particular, I'm giving you a range. And that was the highest attended meeting. And I had an associate by the name of Colin Waddleworth, who also was on my staff and did a lot of one-on-one meetings at our Ithaca office in between that. But to summarize the attendance from the beginning to the most recent one, I think in November.
Right.
I think 2 people came, we did the proper noticing and a variety of items. So it diminished in terms of the number of attendees. Correspondingly, the number of people that gave us verbal support grew, and some of the concerns minimized. But that's just pure attendance, Michelle.
Sure. And did you, over the course of these 3 projects, did you find that there was more or less neighborhood, attendance to these meetings or not?
I would say that in the beginning, there was more attendance, but as time went on, attendance dropped. Is that what you're asking me?
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see, once you've got your buildings up down there, see, because you are doing, first of all, you're doing, obviously adding to the housing stock, but all over Denver, industrial areas are changing in their mix. And it's just interesting. One other quick question. I know you said that you are in your presentation the city of Englewood will be receiving $635,000 or so in permits and fees. Do any of that or any of the other numbers also add to monies to the rail trail?
Add monies to what? I'm sorry?
The rail trail?
I would have to ask Will for a little technical summary on where those permits and fees and those things go to. Will, can you help me?
Yeah. So kind of similar to what we talked about during the Huron and Ithaca property or project. Staff at this point isn't recommending a rail trail contribution, mainly due to the distance that this property is from where that rail trail would be. So as far as those numbers go, I would say that it's not in there.
Okay, it was just a question.
Judy?
To ask if you got any feedback or communication from the nearby businesses or the commercial building owners regarding things like parking, people parking in their parking lots, if they were concerned about the additional traffic, or if they're concerned about having residences in what has traditionally been an industrial area. And I just wondered if the businesses were concerned about that. Maybe possibly more complaints from residences that were moving into a more industrial area. So I was just curious if any of the businesses hopped on board in your meetings.
Judy, I have to say that the businesses are very enthusiastic about us being in a neighborhood. Now, I have true neighbors in the Huron parcel that is concerned about their buildings that they have along Jason. The Holbergs are wonderful people to work with. I think that they have a unique situation that they're looking at along Jason. So first and foremost, we've participated with the neighborhood and with them to, I think, evaluate parking, number one. Number two, rooftops generate more ability to people at the south think that we're the best thing since sliced bread. People at Steakhouse 10, sort of want to drive us up in the front of the parade. Some of the coffee shops and businesses love rooftops. Rooftops generate people. In all honesty, we have zero negativity from businesses, with one exception. The Range Rover guy who has been parking his Range Rovers on the parcel has come over and said, what am I going to do with my Range Rovers? And, we are working out arrangements with them. But overall, Judy, I think they love rooftops and they love product diversification with different people living in the hood.
Carl?
On the contribution to the rail trail bridge over Hampton, there is on the parking the traffic report said that Hampton, Inca, Hampton and Huron, and Hampton and Galapagos, they've all are in the failing category, and they will be that way until 2041. So with the rail, with people not walking across the bridge, getting to the rail trail, they'll be crossing the street there. Crossing the street is going to be slow down the traffic lights and increase the traffic problem in that area tremendously. People walking across the street really slow down traffic. So I think it would be wise to have a contribution to the bridge and then get the bridge done as soon as possible so that we can get people off of Hampton.
I appreciate the observation. I know that we've worked very closely with our engineering team. Mike Kibbe, who's a traffic engineer, has gone through the technicalities. And Carl, we will participate with the city in any healthy spirit that we can.
Aaron?
Hi. Thanks. I'm the new guy, so forgive me if this has been discussed before, but we're talking about attainable, not affordable. Is there any subsidy in your capital stack?
Okay, so from a formal standpoint, we use the term synonymously, affordability and attainable. It sounds like you're a professional who works very closely with financing opportunities or programs sponsored through the city or the state for requirements and guidelines. So this is not a formal, attainable, or affordable project that one would sit down in a conference and say, here are the housing guidelines. This is conventional housing. And related to that capital stack, Bank of America provides a first-time home buyer program that is very directed to first-time home buyers. So, but there is no formal obligation for assistance, Eric.
Right. So no covenants, nothing requiring any ongoing income verification, none of that. But I do appreciate the product. I mean, it's a missing middle product, and I think that's great. I'm curious to know, not being a subsidized product, sort of the demand that you're seeing for sale studios. Can you give me a little bit of input about, what kind of demand that might generate?
Well, I think that the interesting part is that you see multiple municipalities moving to ADUs, accessory dwelling units. And there appears to be a growing demand for that because of affordability. We have developed, as we mentioned earlier, 2 recent projects, Corona Street Lofts and Downing Street Lofts, where we have a variety of small product and big. The small product fits a very, very special niche. It is not part of an elevator building, so the individual is someone who is probably a single, probably a first-time buyer, who is active in their own professional life and has a, those carriage homes are about how many square feet? 570. 570. 570. So that's a reasonable size. But so the demand is measured because when you take a look at our product presentation, we looked at how many of what product we wanted to put in. And, historically speaking, when people buy things, they always like the 2-bedroom, 2-bath. But we're also evolving in a different dimension where affordability in first-time home ownership is big.
What's the unit count out of the 62 for studios?
11? Yeah, 11.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Kate?
Great questions, Aaron. I was just going to ask, let's see, well, for one, cars don't cause traffic, or cars cause traffic, not people walking. But I appreciate your presentation and all the details that you've added in. I guess 2 things I just wanted to ask about. I think in other projects we've seen you've included bicycle parking on site, and I didn't see that for this one. So if that is included, and then in the recommendations for the multimodal improvements, which I do see in there as proposed recommendations for bike lanes along Kenyon and Galapago, and those streets are not currently in the Walk and Wheel Master Plan. So just ensuring then that the commitment to help build out part of that bicycle lane network would be within the Walk and Wheel Master Plan, even if it's not necessarily on those streets, as long as it is the ones closest to the site, to your site.
So to answer the 2 questions, the first one related to bicycle storage. Interesting, Kate, every one of these homes has a private garage. So their parking is their bicycle parking is secured in their own private garage. The common area will have bicycle parking, but the beauty of this particular product is that everyone has their own garage for storage, for cars, for bicycles, and that's unique. So that's, I think, the answer to the first question. The second question, I've gone on the record that I'm a firm believer in that bike lane creation, and we will participate strongly in the adjacencies.
Carl?
The garages, are they equipped or built so that they're easily installed with a electric charger for a car? For an electric car?
The garages, each of the individual garages will have the ability to have an electric charger placed into those garages at the individual owner's request.
Or Chair Austin?
Well, thank you, Carl, for bringing up garages. What are the dimensions of the garages, and what are the standard dimensions of a parking space in a parking lot?
So the average parking surface spot is 9 by 18, and the average width of the garages is 13 feet. Some of those are one car, and the tandem garages in length are approximately 34 to 36 feet.
So a normal garage in its simplest form is what by what?
10 by 20.
10 by 20. So in a single family home, garages are 20 by 20. In this, it's 10 by 20. As he also mentioned, we have 15 of those garages which have 2-car spaces
Right.
in a tandem orientation.
Back to back.
Okay, I was just curious because I think I brought that up last time, and they're skinny, but that's okay. Thank you. Are there
Very
any comments from the commissioners or questions?
Not seeing any more. Are you ready to move on to the public? And then come back?
Yes, let's move on to the public.
Okay, so if the Irwins, they're the first ones I see, if you want to come off mute and off your camera, I'll swear you in.
Unmute. Oh, you're unmuted. Video. We're looking for video.
Still awake?
Video stopped by the host. I
Uh,
just unmuted the microphone.
Okay, hold on. Here we go. You should be able to start your video
All right.
now. There you are. If you could raise your hand. Oh, I guess I gotta come on video. Hold on. There we go. Do you swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury that you would tell the truth in this proceeding before the Planning and Zoning Commission?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so you'd have 3 minutes if you'd state your name and your address, and then I'll start the clock.
Ivan Irwin, 4025 South Jason Street.
I'm sorry, sir. Could you speak into your mic? We can't hear you.
Okay, let's see where it is.
There you go. That's better.
Yeah, Ivan Irwin, 4025 South Jason Street. We're in a 2-block area between Mansfield and Oxford on Jason Street. Any rate, I appreciate the developers have worked with our primary, well, we don't particularly want the higher density, but they have worked with our concerns about traffic calming, and that we want to push. One real item pretty quick, I think Lisa Wolf at 3901 South Jason Street at the southwest corner of Mansfield and Jason has an issue with the bulb outs because of water, not necessarily coming from any of these developers, but she's concerned with the flooding there, and she has talked with some of the developers. So hopefully that's taken okay. When the Sports Authority building first came up, Linda and Kelsey Renner went out and got petitions signed just by the dozens. People couldn't wait to sign. I was kind of surprised, but everybody was pretty much in opposition. I think mainly it is traffic. So we need all the traffic calming that the developers promised and everything else that can be taken. We'd like to get traffic either to go north out of there to Hamden, maybe east on Kenyon to Broadway, or at Mansfield. They already have truck traffic blocked going south on Jason, but it's hit or miss as to whether it's enforced. They have gotten a little bigger. We've not been there for 2 or 3 months, but traffic should be diverted coming down Jason Street at Mansfield west to Columbus.
I believe that your time is up, sir.
Really?
And we
Just 3 minutes?
thank you for your comments. I'm Nancy. I'm assuming it was 3 minutes.
You actually have another 1.5 minutes, Mr. Irwin, but you, I don't want to cut him off, but we couldn't hear you for about the last 5 seconds.
Oh, I'm
okay.
so
Well, I'm an engineer, and
okay.
I thought that was the shortest 3 minutes I ever saw.
Yeah, no, so I'm restarting you
Okay.
I'm restarting you at 1.5 minutes, but if you could please try to remember to speak into your microphone, that would help. Thank you.
Okay, any rate, we want traffic calming, a crosswalk raised in the middle of Jason would really be helpful with radar and flashing lights when people are speeding. It really needs to have some police enforcement. I was a military policeman 2.5 years, and the cop from Englewood does everything he can to keep from having to write a citation because he stands out in the middle of the street with a radar gun and only an idiot would fly by him over the speed limit. We appreciate speed limit being brought down to 25, excuse me. I think that's mainly it. Well, the bulb out. Yeah, bulb out. Okay, I think we're done.
All right, thank you very much. Sorry, next person I see is Robert Tan. Did you wish to speak or address the commission?
No comment, thank you.
All right, thank you so much. And Mr. Holberg, do you wish to address the commission?
No comment right now. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Chair, we are done with public forum or public comment testimony at this point. So staff, the applicant can, oh, Kate has a question. I was just going to say staff and applicant can answer more questions.
Great.
I was just going to ask, can we ask the public a question
No.
in response to their comment? Okay.
I don't believe so. We can go to the city attorney, but my understanding is it's just time for them to have testimony and it's not a dialogue. But Vicky, do you want to take that question?
Yes, Nancy's correct. It's not an opportunity for dialogue. It is just an opportunity for them to make their statement.
Okay.
Can I comment?
Yes.
Kate, what I sense is we love public input. And I was at the city council meeting last night when we were talking about the evaluation of the future, the code interpretations, all of the enforcements, and the more public input that we can receive, it will help people like the city, people like myself in neighborhoods to identify and work closely to get those. So that's, I think, why Kate was asking that question. That's presumptive on my part.
Brenda? Brenda, you're muted. We can't hear you.
Thanks, I'm sorry. I've done Zoom meetings before. I swear
Yeah.
I know how to work here.
We all do that. No problems.
Well, I'm just going to address some of the current concerns about the neighborhoods too. And I think these concerns are more for public works. Just so everybody knows, I live in the neighborhood too, over by the police station. And one of the things about traffic calming that I mentioned in our two previous hearings with this same builder is the traffic down Kenyon Street and the traffic down Jason Street. I'm just going to make this recommendation again. And that is, I think that we would be very helped with a traffic circle on Kenyon and Jason to divert all the traffic coming on southbound down Jason to entice him to take a right and go down the strip near the railroad there. So that I just want to put that out there again, that these are probably conversations that maybe Public Works should be having as this area really grows.
Okay, Nancy, can I just clarify real quickly? I think we're at the time in this meeting where the commissioners still have an opportunity to ask questions of the applicant and staff.
That's correct.
And then after that, we will close the public hearing, and then we still have an opportunity to discuss amongst ourselves or what, maybe addressing what Brenda's concerns are in our final recommendation. Am I correct in that?
Yes, this is the time for questions to the applicant and staff. Then you'll do a motion to close, a motion to recommend, and then discussion.
Okay. So commissioners, if you have questions of the applicant or staff, now is the time to ask those questions.
Aaron? Whoops, Aaron, you're muted. There you go.
Sorry, it's a pandemic here with the muting. I missed this earlier. Can you go over the unit mix of the development one more time?
Hang tight. Okay, let's just see the stat sheet or be able to specific and give you the unit mix. So hang tight. no, unit mix with specific summary of number of homes per floor plan. And I got it right here. Let me just grab it really quick.
Thank you.
Galapagos. Right here, and you should have a unit mix combination. Okay, get your pencil handy. There are 12 carriage homes at 563 square feet. There are 3 2-bedroom, 2 baths at 793 square feet. There are 12 2-bedroom, 2 baths at 1,127 square feet. There are 18 2-bedroom, 2 bath flex spaces at 1,130 square feet. There are 2 2-bedroom, 2 bath handicap. There's another 2-bedroom, 2 bath flex DA, which stands for Den. There are 3 2-bedroom, 2 bath flexes at 1,133 square feet. There is 1 plan at 2-bedroom, 2 bath at 1,139 square feet. There are 6 2-bedroom, 2 bath flexes at 1,189, and there are 4 homes, 2-bedroom, 2 bath flex at 1,209. So there are actually 9 plan types with the carriage, giving you a total, and that is the unit composition which makes up that area.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Carl?
Did I hear right that you have specific handicapped condos?
We do have some in the building.
Are the handicapped condos, are they close to the elevator and the garage?
What's so nice about it is that we have 2 elevators in the building, so not just one. So we have one at either end of the building with great accessibility for that specific demographic.
The garages for those condos, are they relatively close to the condo? For the
Yes.
Okay. Okay, well, thank you.
You're welcome.
Are there any other questions for the applicant or staff from the commission? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing. Am I on track here, Nancy?
You are.
Okay. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Thank you. Second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Hearing none. Nancy, could you call for a vote to close the public hearing?
Ms. Townley?
Yes.
Ms. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Atkins?
Yes.
Mr. Adams?
Yes.
Ms. Hubka?
Yes.
Mr. Martinez?
Yes.
And Chair Austin?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you all. So now is the time for us to discuss amongst ourselves any questions, issues, that sort of thing. So.
Excuse me, Chair. Excuse me. We need to have the motion first. The motion to recommend to City Council.
Oh, yeah, because we do discussion after that, of course.
Right.
Yeah,
it's okay.
You know, everybody needs a Nancy. That's always, thank you so much. So do I hear a motion to recommend to City Council to case ZON 2021-003 for 3600 South Galapago Street.
I'll make a
the
motion
motion.
to approve
ahead.
case ZON 2021-003 at 3600 South Galapago Street with the 4 conditions recommended by staff. I don't need to read the 4 conditions, do I?
No, you're fine.
Okay.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second the motion.
Thank you. Is there discussion? Seeing none. Nancy, could you call a vote on the motion, please?
Sure. Ms. Townley,
Yes.
Ms. Brown,
Yes.
Mr. Atkins,
Yes.
Mr. Adams,
No,
excuse me, Ms. Hupka,
Yes.
Mr. Martinez,
Aye.
and Chair Austin.
Yes.
I have one question for the city attorney. I did not hear findings. Can they still state findings?
They need to do findings in order to as required. Yes, I know it's now out of order, but they can.
I
clarify.
apologize. That was my
That's
mistake.
okay.
If we could go back, Ms. Townley, since you first voted, could you provide some findings, please?
Sure. I think this development meets the requirements of a planned unit development. And the proposed project meets several of the goals within the comprehensive plan to add additional housing types and a mix of housing and as well as near transit facilities. And the project will meet landscaping requirements as well as add additional multimodal features per the walk and wheel master plan.
Thank you. I'm just no, you're good. I'm just going to go around and see if anybody else has, and if you don't have any to add, that's fine. Ms. Brown, do you have any additional findings?
I do not.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Atkins?
I do not.
Thank you. Mr. Adams?
the problem I have with this, the site 3, I approved the site 1 and site 2. It just keeps getting, this is one of the larger ones of the 3. And the traffic reports are just, I just can't imagine the people living in that area having to put up with that, and the people that drive down Hampton every single day. That the Hampton is a mess as it is. You add Sports Authority, you had this site 1, then you had site 2, and then site 3. It's just adding up to too much traffic, and you're jeopardizing the, what is it, the Burger King, the Big O Tire, and the McDonald's there. You're gonna give them problems with getting in and out of their shops, and those are very good income for Englewood. They have much more income than the tax base would be on these this site 3 apartment or condos. Just can't see the traffic, and then not contributing to the light rail trail. We need to get that light rail trail built, and that's a lot of money, and we need to get some funds from whoever's going to be using it. And we need to get people off of Hampton. People on Hampton it's almost to the point where they shouldn't let them cross Hampton, but that's going to be really a lot worse when all these apartments are built. I just can't go along with it myself.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Hupka, do you have anything you wish to add for findings?
No, I said my piece. Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Martinez, anything you'd like to add?
Additional.
Okay, and Chair Austin.
Yes, I have a couple of findings. I appreciate very much the attempts by this group to add to home ownership in Englewood. We've seen so many apartments come through and very little, if any, additional, well, there are some, I take it back, but very little in the broad scope of things, opportunities for home ownership in Englewood, especially, you just can't buy a house in Englewood for less than $500,000. I mean, that's just a fact of the market. So I appreciate you bringing these projects to us that allow for home ownership. And I do think it's also both interesting and beneficial to the city of Englewood in general to have these new developments in the industrial area. It's happening everywhere. Look at Rhino. It used to be all industrial and it's now mixed use. And so we're sort of with the trend with that. So I thank you for bringing forward more home ownership opportunities.
You're welcome.
Motion passes 6-1. And thank you for your grace and my allowing me to go back and get those findings.
Well, thank you for keeping us on track. So where do we need to go next, Nancy?
We're doing elections for chair and vice chair.
Okay, great. I will open the floor to anybody who would like to speak, or is there any nominations for chair?
Kate?
Michelle, I'm sorry to ask this because in this pandemic, who knows how much time has gone by. How long have you served in the chair position?
1 year. And I was elected vice chair because I didn't show up to a meeting. That's how competitive these elections are.
I would like to nominate Michelle for one more, for an additional year as chair, because I believe that's the option to do 2 years in the chair position.
That's correct.
I second that.
Thank you very much. Are there further nominations? All righty. Well, thank you, Kate and Carl. All right, then I guess I need a motion to close nominations. Is that correct, Nancy?
No, we're not that formal. We can go straight to a vote if you'd like.
Oh, okay. All right. So all those in favor, Nancy, do you need to call for the vote, roll call vote?
Yeah, let's do roll call just so I get everybody. Kate Townley?
Michelle, thank you for all your hard work on as being the chair. I didn't mean it as just like only because you've done it for years. So I vote yes.
We're all good. I don't wear my I don't have a chip on my shoulder. We're all good.
Judy?
Yes, and thank you for being willing, Michelle.
Thank you.
Noel?
Yes.
Carl?
Yes, please.
Brenda?
Yes.
Aaron?
Aye.
And Chair Austin?
Well, should I be the only no vote? No, that's all right. Thank you very much. I'll say yes. Thank you very much. Thank you for your confidence. Without Nancy, I could not do this job.
Oh, yes, you could.
Yeah. Little, I don't know. I think that maybe our Victoria, our city attorney might not agree with that, but that's okay. I'm putting words in her mouth.
All right, we're on to vice chair nominations.
Nominations for vice chair, please. I believe that Judy is the current vice chair, if I'm not mistaken.
That is correct. Kate?
I would nominate Judy to serve as vice chair.
I would second the nomination of Judy for vice chair.
Any further nominations? Okay,
I don't see anyone.
okay.
All right, Kate Townley,
Yes.
Judy Brown,
Yes.
Noel,
Yes.
Carl,
Yes,
Brenda,
Yes.
Aaron.
Aye.
And Chair Austin.
Yes, we must make a great team, Judy. I don't know.
Motion passes. Thank you all.
Thank you. Okay, according to my agenda, it's staff's choice.
I believe so.
Hello, Brooke Bell here. I just wanted to bring up, and Nancy, maybe you can help me. Upcoming, we have I guess a large study session having to do with the capital projects budget. And we'd like everyone to kind of put a save the date on your calendars. Nancy, do you know what that date is?
It is, a city council's doing the CIP process a little different this year. So this is tentative at this point, but April 25th, I believe, is the date for a study session with any board or commission that reviews and recommends capital projects. So it's planning commission, it's water sewer board, a number of, so if you could just, I know that's a long ways out, but if you could just hold that date, Monday night, they would like all commissioners to be there.
Okay, and that's, Aaron, just as to let you, remind you what's going on, that's the beginning of our capital improvements recommendation to city council, which has to be done with like 90 days before the actual budget's approved and that sort of thing. So it's a big deal for us to go through at that time. Thanks, Brooke.
Thank you. And other than that, I don't have anything else.
I would just remind all of the commissioners of the Code Next open house town hall next Thursday, February 17th at 6 p.m. I think that's correct, right, Brooke? 6 p.m.
That is correct. And yes, you're all welcome to attend either online or in person. So we're looking forward to it.
Brooke, can you refresh my memory on how we're reaching out to the general citizenry on getting to that meeting?
Oh, gosh, I had my long list last night. in
Okay,
front of
never
City
mind.
Council.
Well,
If you'd like, I can answer that.
okay, because part of my question is to just bring Tyler up to speed of where, what we're doing here.
You mean Aaron?
I'm sorry, yeah, I'm sitting here looking at my screen that says Tyler and Tim, yes, so I'm sorry.
So what we have done is it's being pushed out on social media, all the city's social media accounts. It's also on the news section of the website. It has gone out to, there's a system with the city that you can sign up. It's called Gov Delivery, where you can sign up for different notifications. It has gone out to, I believe, roughly 12,000 people through that format. And in print form to reach an audience that perhaps may not be as computer literate. There's information, postcards, you can take large half sheet postcards at the Meridian, Simon Center, the Rec Center, and the Malley Center.
Great.
So it's gone out on a big email list, and also, yeah, 2 different big email blasts and social media.
Boards
plus print.
and
Boards
and commissions have been notified.
Yes.
The DDA, the chamber. So lots of every channel we can, except for a direct mailing, basically. It's on the website, obviously. So there's been pretty extensive outreach.
Fantastic. Well, I hope we get a great turnout because it's just so important for us to, get as much input as possible from the public. So that's fantastic. Thank you. Any other staff? Okay, so it would be attorney's choice. Victoria, do you have a
I'm
report?
here, I'm just unmuting slowly, sorry.
All right, no problem.
So, in general, I don't have anything at this time. I know that with the city attorney's office, because not necessarily with this board, but with some other boards, there has been a change in the chairperson. So we are looking at getting together some sort of material just to let the new people serving as chair have a better understanding of what their requirements are and the different rules of conduct. So to the extent we get that rolled out, that's something to just look in your email from us.
Well, thank you. I will tell you that Nancy, I believe, sent me a couple of different little sort of cheat sheets for running meetings, and that might be, Nancy, maybe already have them, but they have been extraordinarily helpful. So that sounds fantastic.
Okay, that sounds wonderful.
Okay.
Thanks.
Commissioner's choice. I'll just go around how I see on my screen. Kate Townley.
I don't have anything tonight, thanks.
Judy Brown.
Yeah, a quick question. Did you guys hire Wade's replacement? I was able to participate in the interview process, which was wonderful, and I appreciate the opportunity. But I was just curious if a decision had been made or if that's still waiting for a response from one of the candidates.
I'll respond to that. Thus far, we have reached out to some of the candidates, and it has not come to fruition that we have a candidate that has accepted at this time. So it's going to be actually reopened up to new candidates. Yes. We definitely had some viable candidates. There were some benefit questions, and so we are going to be opening it up again.
Wow, that's too bad. They were the ones that I spoke with, but you couldn't have gone wrong with any of them, in my opinion. But I appreciate the update, and I'm actually quite surprised.
Yes. We were initially disappointed, but we will venture out again, and I'm sure we'll get a very qualified and a great person to fill that role.
That's all.
Great question, Judy. Yeah, it's a tough labor market out there for certain. Brenda.
I do not have anything. Thank you.
All right. Noel?
Brooke, I sympathize. I can't hire people to save my life right now, so I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you.
It's great meeting everybody. Thank you. But no, nothing further.
Thank you. Carl?
Nothing here.
Okay. Did I miss anybody? Okay. I don't have any comments either, except for to say thank you very much to well, they may have already just gone off, but anyway, the development team, but also for welcoming Aaron, and if there's no objection, I declare this meeting adjourned.
Thank you, Michelle.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good night. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks,
Thank you.
team.